Louis has a is very skilled in the work he does as a graphics artist. He spent 8 years working as a graphics artist for the editor, for the front page of the Virginia Pilot newspaper. So he's no amateur. He's really good at what he does. And so without further ado, come on up, Louis.
I love to hear my name any way it is pronounced. I like Louis. My name is Luis. And I'm gonna play a video that I hope can set the tone for the talk. There we go.
I've been wondering about something myself.
Something about Mr. Skunk?
Something about mistakes.
What is it?
I've been wondering if I was a mistake.
If you were a mistake? What do you mean, then?
Well, for one thing, I've never seen a tiger that looks like me.
No.
And I've never heard a tiger that talks like me.
No.
And I don't know any other tiger who lives in a clock.
No, neither do I.
Or loves people.
Oh, Daniel.
Sometimes I wonder if I'm too tame. Sometimes I wonder if I'm a mistake. I'm not like anyone else I know. When I'm asleep or even awake, sometimes I get to dreaming that I'm just a fake. I'm not like anyone else. Others I know are big and are wild. I'm very small and quite tame. Most of the time I'm weak and I'm mild. Do you suppose that's a shame? Often I wonder if I'm a mistake. I'm not supposed to be scared, am I? Sometimes I cry and sometimes I shake, wondering isn't it true that the strong never break? I'm not like anyone else I know. I'm not like anyone else.
I think you are just fine as you are. I really must tell you, I do like the person that you are becoming. When you are sleeping, when you are waking, you are my friend. It's really true. I like you. Crying or shaking or dreaming or breaking, there's no one mistaking it. You're my best friend. I think you are just fine as you are. I really must tell you, I do like the person that you are becoming. When you are sleeping, when you are waking, you're not a fake, you're no mistake.
Sometimes I cry and sometimes I shake, wondering isn't it true that the strong never break? I'm not like anyone else. No, I'm not like anyone else.
I think you are just fine, exactly the way you are.
The way I look,
Yes.
the way I talk,
Yes.
the way I love.
Especially that.
You don't think I'm a mistake?
You're the tiger I love most in this whole universe.
Oh, thanks, Lady Evelyn. I love you too.
Wow.
It's hard not to watch it without. So I discovered Mr. Rogers not too long ago. You guys, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mr. Rogers. Fred Rogers was a TV personality for many years in the United States. He was, when I discovered him, I thought it was incredible because he hit all the child development marks, and he did it very professionally. So I went and I read the book of his life and the documentary. Very inspiring, and it just connected with me, and I thought it was a great way to enter a topic that we kind of try to avoid, which is making mistakes or feeling like we're a mistake or just messing up to all the degrees that we do, because we don't want to mess up, we don't want to make mistakes, and we don't want to do things that we regret. But here we are. We do them all the time. So my experience, this is only my observations on my experience practicing all the things that I enjoy, like coming here, or the things that I learn, or the things that people tell me, if I'm really connected with people. So who am I? I find that really cool looking, how it looks very ambitious and pretentious as far as like a definition. We're all in this world right now trying to kind of define who we are, and like every time we talk to somebody, we say, well, I do this, or you do that, I hear you're doing that, and in my mind I'm already kind of saying what I do. It's a very reactive situation. But anyway, when I know myself, I grow. When I define myself, I do the opposite. I believe that to be very true as far as my experience, so as much as what this is and what I'm talking about. So what happens, what are mistakes? Is it correctly spelled? I didn't run a spell check. Mistakes is correctly right. Mistakes. I used to wear the newspaper, but not anymore. So what are mistakes? Mistakes, I define them as things that I do that I regret doing. Very simple. So I can always. I didn't want to show or give an example of a mistake. I want you guys to maybe reflect on something that you regret doing, whether it is very heavy and very, that kind of, well, if you don't want to go there, I don't want it to be too intense. I'm not a professional, so I don't know where to go with this. Or something little, like forgot your keys, you thought you were going to this place, and then you were not thinking, whatever, and you're like, and there's a member in our family that walks around the house, that doesn't live in the house, but walks around the house, and he is like, what the heck? Repeating this narrative of like, where did I leave the keys, and cursing and all that, and it's kind of fascinating to watch. I think life in general is always very fascinating to watch if you kind of like absorb it, and it feels very interesting to see people kind of like repeating that narrative of like, almost like Homer. So yes, there are I think mistakes are reflections of what you need. We are here in a place where we study spirituality, where we expose ourselves to learning, and we are here for a reason. Now we try to create that logic of like, I'm here and then I'm there, and in a way I've come to understand that that doesn't really mean anything other than just things happen. And the reading that I do from those little mishaps or that mistake, the times that you lose your temper, the times that you just shut down a friend, those can be times where there are situations in which you thought you were doing the right thing, or even you didn't think you were doing the right thing, but from that reflection, from that thing that happened, there's a learning that I come to understand that is very simple. It's a simple mechanism, which we'll get to that. Narratives. We have that narrative, so we go in. I'm always forgetting this thing. I'm always doing this thing. So you are, in my experience, and if I say you, it's all about me. I mean, I'm nobody. I'm in nobody's life. I cannot tell anybody what to do. I'm just telling what I do. I understand that narrative. We all talk about the story and the veil, and then lifting the veil and being in. Well, it's that narrative of repetition, because who we are, going back to the beginning, we are not our mistakes. They are not us. But we tend to I tend to get identified with a mistake, and it waits, and it feels like that's me. And in reality, is it me? I don't know. I think this is me. I don't know the other me. I can only do one thing, is when I contemplate the memory of the mistake, I observe and I wait for compassion to kick in, because we are built in with that. It's automatic. We all have it. So that is the narrative. I can repeat the narrative in my mind, and then just observe it, and feel how I can come to peace with it. When we make mistakes, we're trying to do something, and then we beat ourselves up about the fact that we didn't make that ideal. That even when you're meditating, you're like, I'm trying to be here. My mind keeps going on somewhere. Well, we can beat ourselves up for that, and you're like, oh my God, but who's talking? And then who's doing the talking? And then how about being with it? Being with the distraction. What is that distraction telling you? Because what I believe is that our purpose is just to go through, where we are. And when something kind of feels against that going through, if it scratches us, it's friction. And from that friction, we get that, or heat, or wounds, we get to heal them. We get a cut, and it heals. We fall, we get a bruise, and it heals. So it's all over the place. We can heal, including the stuff that is deep down, which is why I love that the whole Fred Rogers thing, because it's wonderful. So how I understand the paradigm of happiness. So we are happy, and we are just feeling great. And most of the times when we are there, an automatic thought that happens is, oh, I don't want to be down. I don't want to go down. I want to stay here all the time. So then you go, and then suddenly you're here. So when you're here, you're like, I don't want to be here. But when you're here, you're like, oh, I wish I was there. It would be amazing if I was just, if I only felt great. How do I do that? So for me, and after my experience and my interpretation of what I've been learning, is that in reality we don't go like this. We go like this. We hit a town and then we go to another town, and it's a horizontal trip where we have to go through a town, like in the far west, go through a town, and then to go to another town, they have to go through another town, they had to hit their things, and it's changing. It's a different path. And I tried to evolve that thought into what I felt from reading, again, all this stuff, is that in reality it's not even that path. It's a path that goes up. So we are, in reality, we're just in that place, in that direction. That's what I understand about that. So we're made to connect. We were talking in our prayers, in our candlelighting. When we make a mistake, if we understand all the times that we mess up, I would use other words that I use more regularly, but I don't know, they sound a little, a little too harsh. We are just wanting to connect. I read this quote the other day. How about a kid that is just seeking attention? You hear this thing, and it's like, oh, it's just too attention seeking. And I read this quote that said, how about instead of calling it attention seeking, we call it connection seeking? Because that's what a kid needs. That's what a kid is doing, is trying to connect. And then we try to connect, and then sometimes we're like, well, I'm not connecting. I don't want to, okay, kid. But then you go into Fred Rogers' world, and he's like, holy cow, every kid is a little Buddha. Is a little person that he's just listening to them with the, so it's so teaching that you can do that. I mean, I do believe that anybody can do anything, from just practicing. So we messed up. I was going to say I effed up, but not when I've noticed that on my journey from making mistakes, when there is struggle, there is an opportunity to forgive. Now that sounds like, forgive what? These keys that I don't find, forgive my... We are a reflection of what we are needing. So sometimes I find myself saying, I forgive, and please forgive me. For no reason. Just, why not? Why not trying? Why not saying, forgive me? And then I keep looking, and I look at all the Catholic upbringing that I had, and I was like, oh my God, yeah, sure. Yeah, but I'm not a sinner. Am I a sinner? What is a sinner? Because I don't like that idea. That's the thing that kind of I rebelled against. The idea that you are that's why I love that video, because that really hits the idea that definition really, if it's a shaming definition, then I don't care about it. I have no interest about it. I understand the idea of sin as I read in this book, Eckhart Tolle, very well recommended by Bruce. He had has a book, and in one of the paragraphs he talks about how the word sin in the Bible was translated from the Aramaic to the Greek, and then from the Greek to everything else. And in the Greek, the word sin, or somewhere in that translation, it got lost, that sinning is missing the mark. Missing the mark. And I was like, whoa, what do you mean? And it is not being in presence, not being collected, not being aligned, not being... And you have as many tries as you're alive to get it right, to get that alignment. So it's wonderful. It's wonderful living. You get unlimited shots as long as your heart is pumping and you're breathing and you're hearing and you're sensing, you're good. So forgiven. So what I do is I try to watch my body, I try to be with the experience, I try to It's almost like I don't know if this works, but when you enter a dark room from a bright room, and then everything is dark, you're like, I cannot see anything. And after like 5 minutes, you start seeing the LED lights and all the little whatever reflections, or you can even see the light of the street coming to the room. Well, it's the same thing with observing your own mistakes, because watching them doesn't mean you need to feel them. You don't need to. Well, you can feel them, but you're not them. You are not them. You are separating yourself from it. You accept that that is happening, I accept that that is happening. Again, all of it is the same. Acknowledge that it is happening, and then give. How do I give? Do I give my money? Do I give my hands? Do I give my time? What do I give? I give my attention. I hold the space. I can hold the space. I can make it safe for other people. Or myself, most likely. Forgive. Surrender. That's a word that we find to be like, oh no, I'm never surrendering. I'm fighting. Like I raised with all the war games when you're a kid or you're playing. Never surrender. Yes. Well, I find that is what has worked more for me. And how do I surrender? Do I surrender or do I surrender my most precious asset? I surrender my time. I surrender my attention. I surrender to the moment. And then let go. That's the hard part. That's the one that keeps going. It goes. It's almost like one of those. Well, anyway, there's plenty of kids' toys that go and come back, so it's the same thing. And it's like, how do I let go? Because that happened. So who am I? If I am not the mistake, if I am not what it is left of me, that it is not that messed up person or action, that is where you can go. But how do you let it go? By watching it. But I really, in your mind, in your heart. So when we become present, and I'll give some tips on how to. Although I think we're all good here with all the. So I was, and I keep envisioning myself. What do I need? What is my need? What is what I am wanting? What am I talking? Is my mind? I have my mind, and then I have my body's telling me, my shoes are comfy. I feel the temperature of the room. I can hear my voice echoing. Okay, well, I am that. I am here. This is all reminding me that I am here. So I can go in trips with my mind and go. But with one breath, you can always come back. You get another shot. One breath is the simplest thing. I keep thinking, like, people start the new year and it's like, I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna do all these great things, and then there is a time where when you achieve a certain goal, you're like, oh, now what? I want to get to something else. So working out and I am familiar with it. I think there is the best workout that I could ever figure to think about that has effects on all the aspects of my life: work, family, fitness, activities, friendship, social life, everything. Is that I can always breathe, and in that breath, I always have an answer. Always. Every single time. And guess what happens when we breathe? Our brain gets a shot of like, I got energy, I got fuel, I got ideas, I can give you clarity. I can help you think and see. Another one. Time is all we have. I don't have time. I don't have time. Going back to the workout, the best workout is surrender 1 minute of your day. If you can surrender 1 minute, they say, well, I gotta do 20 repetitions, push-ups and all that. No, how about 10 breaths? And you do 10 breaths, that is the workout. And you'll see in 10 breaths how many times you go out and how many times you come back. And every time you come back, I got you, brother. I'm here. In your mind, you are there for yourself because you are. I mean, everything is telling us. They've been coming here for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. People saying, you gotta chill out, you're good, God loves you, just do the best you can. And we have that on all the flavors over there. And there's more, there's like all the chromatic blending. But time is all we have. I don't have time. I just don't have time. It's just don't have time. It's just I don't have time to... What do you mean you don't have time? What do I mean? Because I do that. Anyway, again, I repeat, this is all for me. I write it through my experience, but I have all the time in the world. Because when I say that I don't have time, all I have is the thought of not having time. But right now, I have all the time. I'm here. I get to be this guy. I get to be this person. I get to be here. So, with everywhere, where do you have that opportunity to surrender your time, to surrender yourself through, this is just what I thought about. Everybody's got their method of connecting. It's all about connection. Meditation, however it is, that's the surrender of your time, the surrender of your battle with your mind, where you think like, I gotta quiet my mind. Quiet your mind. If you quieted your mind, you will fall. You'll collapse. Because your brain is already telling for me, I think about it, it's like all the muscles that are working right now. Not only mine, but everybody's. And everybody, imagine, seriously, there is a lot of places to go with the all that it feels to be alive. Imagine now, at this time of the day, how many places in this city, in this country, are worshiping God. It's pretty cool to think. I think about it. I guess I could say I have a friend, but anyway. So meditation, breath work, again, prayer, however it works for me. Some prayers wear out. Some other prayers you can make them. The observance of nature. Yes, we all know this. A tree can tell you how to be still. A plant can tell you how to take care of it. Your yard can tell you what it needs. Interior life, when we watch what we're going through, without judgment. That's the one that I had. So I don't have to have a word for it. Do I have to have a word for it? Is there a word for this that I'm feeling? Is this? In reality, all the chatter is the thing that is not gonna, at least to me, it doesn't give me the answer. It's the silence that it is behind the chatter. And then it's like, well, yeah, but I have access to it at every breath. At every breath, I am out of air, and then I get more air, and there's plenty of it all over the place. So if you really want to get hooked on something, get hooked on breathing. You already do, but like conscious breathing, that's another one. Observance of our reactions, forgiveness to oneself. The mind cannot defeat the mind. I've come to realize that is what works for me. To think that if I want to defeat a thought train, or an identification with a thought, or thinking that I am doubt, is that you have irrefutable evidence that you are on track. You are alive. That's it. So how do you know you're alive? By feeling your body, by listening to your thoughts, for example, watching your thoughts, by giving, doing something for somebody else, emptying that need. Because we usually what we don't want, which are mistakes, becomes what we want, what we need. And before, we never cared to want what we needed. We only wanted what we wanted. So in that reflection, I find a lot of solace. It's very simple. I cannot defeat my thoughts with my thoughts, because my thoughts are very powerful. Mine or everybody's. Trying is doing. I have this thing that I read all these motivational things, and I had try. What it is the thing that Yoda says, do or do not, there is no try, right? I think that's very harsh, because everything is trying. Trying is doing. So if you don't try, you don't do. Because by doing, that's how you learn. Pretty simple. I find it like, no, just go for it, do it. And I was like, what do you mean? And what am I doing? What am I rushing? Another great light is that, for me, as a lighting post, is that when I'm in a rush, I'm feeling the rush. And I'm like, oh, now it's time to wait. Now it's time to slow down. Now it's time to hear my breath. And then let myself go. And I get going. Trying is doing. It's all practice. There's no definitive place. You can't just, and again, you, and I can't just say, I figured it out. I got the trick. I know how it works. Because I don't. I know where to look. I know where to look. And every time I don't look, anytime I get lost, I can always look. And there's always in your reality something that is talking to you. Now, is it talking with words, or is it talking with physical sensations? Is it talking with light? Is it talking with a conversation? Is it talking with a memory that comes? Everything is practice. When do I practice? We go back to the when do I practice this? Anytime. Anytime, any moment, any place. I've come to realize that if I surrender, I can practice this, and I get goodies. Everybody gets goodies. We call them, some people call them miracles. There are heavy miracles, there are like super, and then you get like the serendipity, synchronicity. There's many ways to explain it, but there is no way to call for it. There is no way to expect it. You have to just surrender. And it happens. It happens. It's already happened 100 million times in your life before. When you do presence, or however you do it, there's answers that you didn't have. There's answers in your memories that are coming to you now, because you're going back there without judgment. That's the word. That's the spice. Every time we hear somebody say something, we have spice. Oh yeah, this person is saying this thing, this person, oh, look at however are the layers that you can add to it, your interpretation. And that is the layers that are designed for you to peel off so you can connect with everybody. That's it. If you guys have any questions, I only have like 2 minutes, so it's pretty good. I don't have to answer much. But if you guys have any questions, I would much rather. We're good? All right, well, that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so I guess I am going to go.
You did not miss the mark.
Thank you. All right. Okay, so.
Gracias. If trying is doing trying?
Is doing trying. Not necessarily. Unless you want to call it like that. Yeah. Because that.
Doing and trying.
It's all the same. You try, but because you're always trying. We're always trying. It's all the practice.
Well, When people say to me, I'm gonna try, I'm saying, you're gonna do it, you're gonna try to do it.
Okay, so they're saying, I am going to try. They're not saying, I am trying.
Yeah.
That is the difference. I know we encounter that thing where it's like, I will try, I will try to make it there. Well, that is a way of, what do you transmit?
Yeah.
What do you really transmit with your heart? Because that person is not telling.
That's an intention.
Yes, and maybe they're not telling you the truth,
Yeah.
but that's on them.
Right.
You can't make them. You can't make anybody do anything. You can manipulate them into doing something short term, but in the end,
You can't expect honesty from others, but you can always expect it from yourself, right?
yeah, exactly. It's all the same. It's all the same. So yes, we're like, I will try to do it. Okay. How do you get people that say that? Well, we'll try. You will try. Well, I hear that you will try. I believe you. I take you for your word.
Is that a commitment?
Most of the times, what happens is that your confidence or your serenity or your whatever agenda you may have, you can relinquish that agenda that you may have, and you say, let it be. And guess what? That person will say, I don't have anybody nagging me. What do I do now? I guess I'll do it. Because sometimes people, I find you end up being comfortable with being nagged. It's almost part of your reality of a boss or a person. No, but it can happen from yourself. Everybody is everybody. I mean, we are the other person. So a lot of the things that happens are just are from you.
Yeah.
It's all how we're filtering the reality. I think we are, and this is, I think we are like oysters. I think we filter the water, and we make this wonderful. Yes, we filter everything, and then we end up just creating something wonderful. But if we don't filter it, we're not fresh. We're not doing it, So, all right. I guess.
Good talk.
Well, thank you.